By the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot. It's just a side effect. But she told Joy Behar that she's scared as heck.
Piers Morgan decided to destroy The View, and he didn't throw a little shade, he brought a whole thunderstorm. But what made Piers Morgan so mad? Let's show you.
And it's this permanently offended, snowflakey, cancel culture mob who descend like a pack of hornets on anything they can get themselves into, trying to suppress everyone's...
In what can only be characterized as a blazing torrent of outrage, Piers Morgan questioned the viewpoint. He threw a full-fledged thunderstorm, not just a little shadow, but what had irritated Piers in the first place? Let's examine it. Piers Morgan has been one of the most vocal opponents of cancel culture for many years. He has compared it to a type of fascism and described it as a dangerous force that undermines freedom of expression. It suppresses free speech and makes individuals too afraid to express their thoughts, which is why he is furious. Isn't he looking quite serious? This is when things start to get interesting. The View's cancellation appears to be, to the same person who wants to eradicate cancel culture. Piers strongly advocated for the show's cancellation in his editorial in the New York Post, describing it as a meaningless, trivial joke about Trump. Isn't that harsh? But does whatever he says have any truth to it?
Progressive voices at The View reacted to her appointment like this.
I think she's probably been put in there because according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that.
Piers claims that the program has effectively turned into a daily tirade against Trump. He says the hosts now openly mock and attack him daily, rather than even trying to hide their contempt. These days, it is both personal and political. Piers even went so far as to claim that he and the View hosts are marooned on a desert island in his worst nightmares. He characterized these dreams as frequent, enduring, and mentally damaging. Piers then pursued each host in turn, without hesitation. Joy Behar is up first. Piers didn't hold back when he accused her of wearing blackface at a Halloween party years ago, and he made an effort to act as though it hadn't happened.
Is this Joy speaking? The same Joy? The same Joy that paraded around in blackface not too long ago? Come on, Joy, I don't think you should be asking these questions. I am.
Excuse me.
Elisa Fair-Griffin is the next. She switched sides and Piers followed. She used to call Trump a terrific president, but now she acts as though he is the worst president ever. It's hard to blame Piers for calling her a flip-flopper. She'll be praising him one day, the next she's in a horrible film as the antagonist. Have you changed your mind? Was it merely a commercial decision?
The operative word is authentic for me. And I think Nikki Haley has been inauthentic from day one. She has flipped. This is a woman that I don't find authentic at all. And
I was referring to this moment, by the way.
I'm referring to this moment, too.
You don't think that was a
no,
real
I don't.
emotion?
You don't think it was real?
I think that is something...
serving in counterterrorism
Well, I think that there's something that that military families do go through. I come from a military family, as many of us do. And I don't trust her.
Piers continued. He then criticized Sunny Hostin, saying she had unjustly accused U.S. Congresswoman Nikki Haley of being overly emotional about her husband's military service. When he criticized Haley for not using her own first name because Hostin doesn't use hers, he also called Hostin a hypocrite. Of course, we certainly can't ignore the queen of The View, Whoopi Goldberg. Other problems, such her suspension for comments she made about the Holocaust that sparked a lot of criticism. Not to add the scandal she created when she defended Roman Polanski, the director, in the past. Piers maintained that rather than being a conversation show, The View had devolved into a biased echo chamber. According to him, the emphasis has shifted from genuine discussion to the spread of biased viewpoints, and it is clear which side they support. Let's be truthful. Whichever your stance on Trump, it's hard to ignore The View's obvious bias. In fact, numerous people are confirming Piers' conclusions and stating that he is right. The show's original goal was to offer a platform for a variety of viewpoints, but that is clearly not happening. But here's the twist. Some critics are starting to wonder if Piers is just doing the same things over and over again. Is he putting on a show where everyone picks a side and then leaves? Some even argue that rather than being entirely abandoned, the point of view just needs a substantial shift in tone. It feels more like a never-ending session of left-wing therapy because there isn't actually any debate going on at the moment. It would be more interesting to see actual arguments than of just Republicans being constantly attacked, wouldn't it? The show's political leaning is so severe that it's practically causing limbo. Conservative guests who come ready to voice their opinions are caught off guard by the intensity of the environment and thrust into a verbal WWE brawl. It's more like an intellectual roast session than a conversation, with one side holding the microphone and the other only hoping for a commercial break. Is that something you've heard before? We have all seen it. When someone tries to make a point, the entire broadcast turns into a debate in the group chat. Hires at home are genuinely taken aback. Some even joke that The View will become a program that roasts people. Viewers are drawn in by the drama, not the discussion. Think about this. A cool-headed disagreement on The View would be the biggest story twist of the year. Forget about unexpected visitors. Let someone finish a statement without being side-sunked into oblivion. Wouldn't that be revolutionary? There's more, though. Now for the Kamala Harris controversy. Piers Morgan didn't mince words when she made an appearance on the show describing The View as bothersome.
You called white Republican cockroach.
Actually, I didn't. And
you said they're acting like cockroaches.
I used in a similar rhetoric. Let me answer that. Okay. I used a metaphor.
Given The View's reputation as a noisy battleground, where presenters spend half the show shouting at each other and the other half nodding in agreement as if they've cracked the Da Vinci Code, it's obvious that he's not the only one with that mindset. Piers' jab focused on the chaos, but he also attacked The View's transition into a democratic political sanctuary. He even played a video of Kamala Harris and Joy Behar asking her about Trump's overwhelming win and calling his supporters crazy.
Kamala Harris, not for the reason she would like to be one of my favorite people. She appeared on The View today, which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable.
Harris was negotiating a political minefield, Piers pointed out. She ran the risk of offending moderate voters if she agreed with Behar too much. If she replied too harshly, she would irritate the audience that had come to hear Trump lambasted. What did she do then? With caution, she nodded in agreement, focusing on the thought that everyone should be afraid.
Scared, first of all, what could happen if Trump ever became, God forbid, president again? And what are you going to do to stop the crazies?
I am scared.
Piers wasn't alone in believing that this was a missed opportunity for deep discussion. The idea that the vice president, who occupies one of the most powerful positions in the world, would be intimidated by a 77-year-old man with a comb-over was ridiculed by his panel.
I am traveling our country. You know, there's an old saying that there are only two ways to run for office, either without an opponent or scared. So on all of those points, yes.
They pointed out that despite Trump having the full support of one of the strongest military forces in the world, Kamala Harris behaved as though he were an unstoppable horror villain. Instead of offering workable policy answers, Piers and his panel argued that she is adopting a narrative of fear. They made fun of her by asking if her entire campaign plan was just saying, "I'm afraid," over and over. Isn't that a bold move on the part of a candidate?
Support Trump. This reminded me of Hillary Clinton with her basket of deplorables jibe about what is in reality tens of millions of Americans.
You can't compare it to...
However, this is when the intriguing part begins. Although Harris may not have inspired anyone, some panelists supported her, saying she stayed clear of major political landmines. When questioned about racism in America, they noted that she avoided any complications. Some argued that she was playing it too safe by not going so far as to proclaim that the nation is racist or to deny it. What is the approach in this situation? The real question is that the panelists appear to be reading bad luck cookies one minute, then trying to appear wise and pensive the next. Although that may be intentional, Harris isn't the most captivating speaker. Maybe she doesn't want to impress us, she just wants to show up, utter a few things, pause theatrically, and then say nothing. It's similar to when someone makes an unsuccessful attempt to teach something. Piers Morgan, meantime, is out here giving The View the respect it so clearly deserves. What about the wild part? In fact, he is getting acclaim for criticizing The View and even advocating for its discontinuation. The worst part, though, comes next. Most people aren't even aware that it's not so much a talk show as it is a technique to get views by defaming the opponent. So, what do you think? Does Piers go too far, or does he call it as he sees it? What's the real plan? Scaring people, or just whipping up the base? Should the point of view be eliminated, or does it only need to be counterbalanced by some substantive debate? If you liked this video, please let us know in the comments section below. We appreciate you watching.